Mukbangs have become one of the most popular forms of content on YouTube today. Personally, for months, I couldn't go a single day without one of these videos popping up in my recommended feed. Eventually, I caved in, and boy, what an experience that was.
I have my signature, fresh chicken. Fresh out the pot. Got some zesty buffalo. Hopefully I don't spill it. I'm just gonna be really careful. Got a really nice white dress on, so yeah, that would be bad news. So,
So, what is a mukbang? The term and the practice itself both originated in Korea. Mukbang is actually a combination of the Korean word for eating and the Korean word for broadcast. Personally, I thought this was really interesting. The practice began in Korea as a way to provide companionship. Basically, lonely people or travelers away from home could pull these videos up to mimic the experience of eating with company. The trend quickly gained popularity, and particularly here in America, mukbangs are no longer about companionship. Today, mukbangs are about glorifying gluttony and unhealthy eating habits, sexualizing food, and sometimes even abuse. Welcome to Quest Talks, home of the best talks, and today we'll be focusing on the toxic state of modern mukbangs.
I hate this!
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Quest
In my opinion, mukbang channels have officially dethroned reaction channels as the easiest way to build a following on YouTube while really doing little to no work. Like early reaction channels, many mukbangs today are very straightforward. They have very little editing or setup involved, and once you add that with the current climate of mukbangs being so popular today, a person could just sit in their car eating fast food in silence, record it on a phone straight to YouTube and get thousands of views. That said, mukbangs are just people eating on camera. It's a concept that leaves ample room for creativity, so honestly, if you were to take a walk through the entire mukbang landscape, then you would find all types of mukbangs. You'd find mukbangs that make you smile, mukbangs that make you sad, mukbangs that make you jealous, mukbangs that make you feel better about your own life, mukbangs that cause you confusion, mukbangs that scare the shit out of you and your entire family. The community at large is quite diverse. It's filled with many different subgenres, but in my opinion, there's definitely much more bad than good. That said, why not start with the good? Like I said, there are many subgenres of mukbang content, and there are a few of these subgenres that I consider to be generally positive. Not many, but a few. Of these few, the most popular is probably ASMR mukbangs. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. In a nutshell, it's the tingling sensation people feel when touched very softly or hearing somebody whisper in their ear. In actuality, there are many triggers, especially auditory triggers, which is why ASMR is really a genre all on its own on YouTube, just like mukbangs. Content created by combining these two genres have been extremely popular on YouTube. Personally, ASMR makes me cringe. The chewing and slurping is nasty to me, the whispers feel invasive, and any tingling of the spine that I feel when I watch ASMR content just makes me feel uncomfortable. It's not soothing at all. That said, it would be biased on my part to consider it to be bad or problematic across the board just because I don't like it. I know many people who love ASMR. I know many people who feel comforted or even feelings of euphoria when they listen to it. I assume it's like cilantro or butt sex,
What?
Just not for everybody.
That nigga's tripping.
Another popular mukbang subgenre, probably my favorite if I had to pick one, are the Storytime mukbangs. Pretty straightforward concept, and it's a subgenre I feel stays truest to the original goal of a mukbang. Like I said, mukbangs are created so viewers could simulate the experience of eating with company, and these Storytime mukbangs do deliver that. In really good ones, you can feel like you're eating with a friend because some of these creators get really honest and personal with their viewers.
I try to trust this man that I barely know. We get blue. Mind you, I don't know these people from a can of paint, so I don't know if it's his bag or not. I kept popping up to his baby mama house.
The food really takes a backseat to the story in a lot of these. To me, this style of mukbang feels like something I could watch while eating and create an enjoyable experience. On the other hand, if I tried to eat while watching those other more food-focused mukbangs, I'd probably lose my appetite.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So with the positives out the way, let's get to the bad stuff. most obvious and arguably most problematic quote-unquote bad mukbang subgenre, in my opinion, would probably be the challenge mukbangs. I'm talking about things like the 10,000 calorie challenge, or the 10 pounds of seafood challenge, or the, plethora of challenges that are just centered around creators engorging themselves on monolithic plates of absurdly spicy noodles, which seems to be the absolute shiznit here on YouTube, because these videos get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. People just can't get enough of the shock value and the comedy that often comes along with this kind of content.
Guys, if I don't survive this, and you don't see me again, I just want to tell you guys that I love you.
But let's be real here. There's nothing healthy about this. To start, these creators are damaging their health. What they're doing is called binging. They're promoting it as a lifestyle while also profiting off of it, which then promotes the binging lifestyle as a profitable way to live. This is damaging to themselves and their audience. Now, of course, with the pancetta going on, there's the added bonus of this content being really fucking insensitive. Many people are struggling to eat as a result of the lockdowns and loss of work. I'm not saying mukbangers should stop making mukbangs because of the pancetta, but eating enough food to feed a family in a single setting, or eating something that you know you won't finish and will ultimately discard just as a challenge, leaves a bad taste in my mouth personally. Unhealthy eating is far too common in the mukbang space, and even creators who do ASMR and Storytimes often enter the realm of absurdity when it comes to their portion sizes. You could really pick a mukbang at random, and it'll probably showcase some kind of unhealthy eating habit. Honestly, from eating inanimate objects to eating copious amounts of cheese, there's something for everyone. Now let's talk about the eventual dilemma for all creators: staying relevant.
I'm the new Omarion.
No matter what kind of content you're focused on YouTube or social media, at some point, you'll have to switch it up. You'll have to do something else to keep your audience interested, because nobody wants to come to you for the same old thing over and over. This is why you see the Paul brothers boxing people all of a sudden. And once they run out of people to box, I'm sure they'll figure something else out. They'll probably come out with their own version of the Property Bros or something like that. My point is, eating on camera gets old fast. And I'd argue that most of the mukbang subgenres that exist today are the result of creators needing to stay relevant and stick out, rather than wanting to show off their creativity. ASMR, Storytimes, true crime reports, makeup tutorials, recipes, these are all ways that mukbang creators enhance their content to keep them in the game. That said, there are some other ways that creators choose to keep their mukbangs relevant or creative that we need to talk about. Let's start with the least triggering mukbang stimulus package: sexualizing food. I'm actually surprised at how common this is in the mukbang space. I mean, I'm the son of a chef, and I've actually myself run restaurants for 3 different restaurant groups over the last 6 years. In that time, I've seen hundreds of customers exclaim at how delicious their food has been. I've seen hundreds of people enjoy their meals and feel satisfied and content. None of them moaned throughout their meal. I've never seen anyone moaning throughout a meal outside of a mukbang. Don't get me wrong, even I sometimes will eat something that makes me, let out a little, damn, wow. On the first bite, when I first taste it, and I'm genuinely surprised at how good it is. But when I'm 5 bites in, when I'm halfway through a store-bought rotisserie chicken, there's no way that I'm still like, Nobody eats like that. It's just an exaggerated thing that these mukbangers do to keep people watching. And as cringy as it is to me, I know for a fact that there's a certain group of people who find it quite stimulating. And honestly, the moaning noises are just the tip of the iceberg. That's really reserved for the mukbang prudes, if you will. Other more adventurous mukbang creators choose to sexualize their foods in other ways. They will do their mukbang while scantily clothed, or even naked. Or they'll do their mukbang while eating off of someone else that's naked. Or they'll do their mukbang in the ASMR style and eat something that, maybe sounds a little suggestive. And then, of course, there's the undisputed mukbang champions of sexualizing food. These are the male creators who choose to eat large amounts of like wet noodles or jello or really anything that'll produce a certain sound that if you close your eyes can be perceived in a certain way. And then there are their female counterparts who will eat very large phallic shaped foods in a certain manner to produce a certain response. And I do believe that some creators are doing this moaning thing, kind of like a parody almost. They do it to add exaggeration to their content and make it funny. I do see that. Some people, you can tell that it's a joke. But that said, no one eats sausage like this. And let me tell you, no one eats anything like this. I mean, and when you think about the success of Trisha Paytas's brand of food-based porn and the rise of OnlyFans, some of these mukbangs start to feel like free content used to attract premium members, if you catch my drift. And now, I think it's a good time to discuss the king of YouTube mukbangs. And arguably, the king of being toxic in general on YouTube. The one, the only, the round, the lonely, Nikocado Avocado. Controversy follows this man like a shadow, and most of it is by design. Nikocado has turned himself from a vegan.
You are what you eat, so whenever possible, eat from the earth, and you will feel alive.
Yes, vegan mukbanger into, well, this.
Get in my belly!
Okay, that's not him. That's Fat Bastard from Austin Powers, but come on, it's pretty close. My point is that Nick is past the point of damaging his physical health.
I look like a Pokemon ball. Gotta catch 'em all.
To seemingly damaging his mental health. To ultimately damaging his marriage and as a result his husband. If you look at pictures of not just Nick, but also his husband Orlin 4 years ago, they're completely different people. And anyone who's ever been in a serious committed relationship knows that after a while, especially if you live together, you begin to share habits and traits. You share most of your meals. You share most of your downtime. So if the dominating personality in the relationship doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to be active, then guess what? You're not going out or being active. And if they're also engorging themselves on large amounts of food, then guess what you're gonna do? Eat that same food that they're eating. And the crazy thing is, I mean, he has multiple channels, all of them over 500,000 subs. A couple of them over 1 million subs. Literally, if you just search the word mukbang by itself, just mukbang, then a Nikocado Avocado video comes up first. Like, this means that he is a lot of people's introduction to the world of mukbangs. I mean, he was mine. Remember when I said that YouTube kept recommending me mukbang videos? Well, they were Nikocado videos. And as I watched, I'm not gonna lie, it was funny at first. But over time, I got more and more uncomfortable. And eventually, I just had to ask myself, why hasn't Nikocado Avocado been canceled? Why is he still allowed to monetize these videos?
Why? Why? Why?
Nikocado's brand of sexual mukbangs is more revealing, so to speak.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
He's known for his anger issues, throwing childlike tantrums, destroying everything in his wake, including the food and his husband Orlin. That's just become par for the course at this point.
Keep it that way. Or don't say anything at all. They don't need to know.
They know.
They know. Stop it, Orlin.
His brand of mukbang content is the definition of toxic and outrageous. So now let's talk about Nikocado's mukbang stimulus package. Straight up abuse. I mean, he abuses his husband a lot. To be fair, they abuse each other, but it all starts with Nick. He cheats on Orlin, he spits on Orlin, he throws food at Orlin, he forces Orlin to clean up after him even when he defecates himself. He forces Orlin to eat his destroyed leftovers, and he throws whatever he can get his hands on at him. And at the end of the day, he records all of this and uses it all as content. I don't understand why he can continue to monetize this content. I'm not sure why people continue to support his content. He's basically profiting off of being an abuser and a manipulator. And all the while, he's killing himself and his husband with his terrible diet. No one needs to eat the way Nikocado Avocado does. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his content. He's also being abusive and aggressive and irrational and destructive on a regular basis. And he apparently isn't very liked in the actual mukbang community in YouTube either. He's had multiple issues with various other creators who are popular in their own right in the mukbang space. But still, for some reason, Nikocado continues to prosper. He's the king of taking people's content down for copyright strikes when they're not even legitimate. He's become incontinent and can't control himself. And I don't want to spend the rest of this time just digging into Nikocado's content. If you want to go and watch that stuff, you can check it out for yourself. There's plenty of content for you to go through. I really just wanted to highlight my issue with mukbangs in general. And because Nikocado is such a big fixture in the mukbang space, I had to give him this amount of time. You just gotta see it to believe it for yourself.
Cheese. I love cheese. We're making cheese. Here we go.
And Nikocado isn't the only toxic creator in the mukbang space. He's just the only one that I actually felt like focusing on today, because in my research of mukbang content while I was getting ready to make this video, I saw that the other controversial mukbangers, you know, that come to mind, like a Foodie Beauty or Amberlynn Reed, they get a lot of flack already. They get a lot of scrutiny on everything they do. Whether it's their eating habits, their lying to their audience, the manipulation tactics that they do, them treating their significant others poorly, them treating their animals poorly. Like, I found all types of videos talking about the toxic habits that these creators have.
And you know what, Chantel? I feel you. I feel that you're gonna do exactly what everyone else is doing too, okay? I feel that from you right now. I have this strong feeling that you are not going to disappoint. Yes, I believe in you. That was a lie.
With Nick, there's scrutiny out there as well, don't get me wrong, but he's far more successful than these women, and they have far more scrutiny than he has. I see a lot more content talking about the issue with Amberlynn Reed and Foodie Beauty, and they both have one channel, not even 1 million subscribers each. Nick's smallest channel dwarfs their entire existence on YouTube. The sheer length of his content dwarf any other videos that they make. Like, he makes videos from 30 minutes to over an hour long. So I felt like doing a deep dive on Amberlynn Reed or Foodie Beauty would be beating a dead horse. There's so much content on that. But I thought it'd be okay to focus on it because at least during my research, most of the content that I found scrutinizing his channel was really about his weight gain. You know, it was about him going from vegan to glutton, I guess, in a span of 4 years. And while that's bad, I think the bigger issue here is really the relationship with Orlin that he promotes that has now been a main fixture of his channel.
This is ASMR. I can't speak. You need to get out of here. He's squishing me. He's squishing me. He's squishing me.
I wanted to make this video because I'm pretty much committed to not watching mukbangs at all anymore. I'm pretty mukbanged out. That said, I will take the time to say that there are a couple creators that I think, if mukbangs are your thing, are worth checking out. I can't really think of any more names off the top of my head right now, and I don't feel like going back into the mukbang archives to pull them out, you know, but it is what it is. When I'm editing, I'll put up a couple more people who's, I think, make some decent mukbang content if you'd like to check them out. But remember, I am not recommending mukbangs. The point of this video is for me saying that mukbangs are toxic, and I'm not a fan of them in general at all because they have lost their way, alright? And my main 3 reasons are that they are glorifying gluttony and unhealthy eating lifestyles, and that's not good for anybody. They sexualize food for views, which is off-putting to me. I think it's cringy, and it belongs on different platforms. And when I started this video, my 3rd reason for hating mukbangs was abuse. And in some ways it still is, generally, but I have to admit that there are some creators I didn't include in this video who are abusive towards animals in different ways and use that for content in their videos that honestly I didn't choose to highlight because it's gross. It was hard enough for me to include Nikocado with his eggs and hair all over him, but some of the stuff that like VASMR posts is just too much for my stomach to handle, and I didn't want to include that for my video, but you can go check her out if you want to to as well. But I digress. My third reason is now just straight up Nikocado, man. Nikocado Avocado, in my opinion, is an absolute menace. And it may be insensitive because I can definitely see that he probably does have some form of mental issue going on right now because of the trauma of force feeding himself all this nasty, bad, high fat, high calorie food. But to me, he's just a menace. He's just a menace, and he shouldn't be allowed to profit off of this kind of content anymore, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about mukbangs, Nikocado, my thoughts down in the comments. I'm curious to hear what people think about this form of content. It's pretty big right now in the YouTube space. Drop a comment. Let me know why you support these things. I'd be curious to know. Let me know why you disagree with anything I said. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what kind of content to bring you guys. I would appreciate it if you subscribed. As always, this has been Quest Talks, home of the best talks. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.